One, go.
Welcome into Inside Press Box. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of Pressbox and PressBoxOnline.com. And with me on the line on this Zoom is Eric Garfield. At Eric_Birdland is how you can follow him on X. We are going to be talking minor league baseball in the Orioles system in just a second. I want to thank our sponsors at the outset. AJ Michaels, what company makes your home more energy efficient, kills all allergens and viruses, and qualifies you for $6,000 in rebate? That would be AJ Michaels. Turn to the experts, AJ Michaels and Carrier at ajmichaels.com. And of course, we're brought to you by the new Atmans at Harbor Point. If you're craving that classic New York deli experience, and it is harder and harder to find these days, look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different, a bar. Atman's has food and drink specials every day, now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at our bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition since 1915. Find us at Harbor Point or visit atmansdeli.com. And by the way, that bar will be open during tomorrow night's game and Saturday late afternoon's game. So you can enjoy the games there, and I'm sure it'll be open on Sunday as well. Eric, let's jump into it.
Let's
We've
do
got
it.
a little time, and the Florida Complex League, the ball club has jumped into a 3-game winning streak. Tell us a little bit about that, and what's their record now?
They are now 7-12. I don't know where that puts them in the standings for their division. I still think they're in last, but they have won 3 games in a row. Today on Thursday, they blew out the Twins, who are featuring top prospect Walker Jenkins, 10-3. So they had one easy one so far this week. The previous 2 were in no way easy. One, they had to score 7 runs in their last at bat to win 9-8. They were down 8-2. And the other one, they won a low-scoring pitcher's duel in the last at bat, 2-1 on Monday on an Ellis Cuevas home run. So players are getting acclimated to the schedule and the routine. And now some of the luck and some of the circumstances are going to the Orioles, and they're finding a way to win. They have 2 more games this week, tomorrow and Saturday, both against the Pirates.
And this trade that the Orioles made with the Brewers the other day, where we sent Garrett Stallings, I think he was picked up in the Iglesias trade about 3-4 years ago, and we got back a major league capable pitcher, Teero Vieira, and we got back a young arm who was immediately sent to the Florida Complex League. And you have a little insight onto why that arm was needed.
Yeah, the lower minors have been on a pitching shortage, a deficiency the last couple weeks. A couple games I watched last weekend that weren't blowouts or weren't like weird game situations. The pitcher that came in out of the bullpen was a catcher in high A and low A. And for the FCL, it's kind of a regular usage rotation of the same arms. They're not exactly doing well or getting better. And you know, that the Orioles, they need people to make up these innings and throw these innings. So they traded for someone named, I believe it's Anuris Rodriguez in that deal as well. And I've seen him in the stadium warming up in the bullpen. And this is a team that needs pitchers, and he hasn't come in yet. So today is Thursday. Like I said, they have a game Friday and Saturday. He has to pitch one of those games. Otherwise, why is the guy even in uniform? There can't be that much strategy to discuss. It's not like he's the quarterback. You know, he just needs to recognize the fingers when they're put down. So I expect him to pitch either tomorrow or Saturday. Maybe they can keep the win streak rolling.
Hopefully he's better than the catcher. Okay. So
Okay,
is there any chance at all that this guy is a real prospect?
Like most of the depth type of players in this league, it's low. I'd say like 1 in 20, 1 in 25. But that's in this game,
It
that's
does happen.
not zero. That's
Okay.
something. So if find a pitch, find a way to get people out, something that they can work on and develop. So we'll call him a maybe, and
So,
especially for I haven't seen him yet.
so the Orioles are looking for depth at the major league level as well. And they
Correct.
added this guy Vieira, and I looked at his numbers with the Brewers, and I think he had pitched with the Giants before, or
Yep.
somebody, one other team. And I really saw very little to like about him. And he came in the game, I think we were up 11-1
Yep.
or something like that. And he gave up 3 or 4 runs. Do you know much about Vieira at all?
From what I know, he's a career minor leaguer, like a high minors guy
So
who
he's like a
split.
4A guy. He's a 4A.
Right. So other than that, no. How he gets batters out, there doesn't seem to be like a standout pitch or a standout pattern. So no, but I'm not the Orioles research and development staff. Perhaps they see lots of ways like to teach him or to improve the ways that he does get batters out. So I'm not going to judge him on his first impression. I saw the same thing you saw. He didn't look that good. So let's hope the FCL guy turns out a little bit better.
Well, I was at a Shiva that night, so I didn't see him at all.
Okay.
Uh,
Maybe that's
or no,
better.
I was at the actual funeral when he pitched, and I did not see that game at all. So we'll see. Uh, it just strikes me as we bridge into moving into some of the people I wanted to talk about at AAA. Obviously, I want to talk about the big four of Norby, Kerstad, Mayo, and Jackson Holiday. But there were a
Always.
couple pitchers at AAA, and I'm not talking about the most obvious, Cade Povich. We've talked about him. He should be ready any day they need him, I would think. But
Hmm.
more important, that rather than a guy like Vieira, isn't Chase McDermott close enough to get an inning here and there in the major leagues and dominate in an inning?
I mean, you're asking the number one Orioles prospect hugger on earth. I would say yes, but my bias aside, we've talked about it on previous episodes. He's proven to be at the very least worthy of what you just said. An inning here and there where he can't really alter or adversely affect the game situation. Yes, I think Chase McDermott could do that
So
today and a couple weeks back.
he's got a 4.02 ERA. And
Absolutely
by the
fine.
way, just in case anybody's listening, I don't want to shut everybody off from listening to us. They've reached a verdict. We don't know it yet, but they've reached a verdict in the Trump trial.
Okay.
Um, he's 4.02 ERA and I know his whip is not good. It's 155, but
Right.
in 47 innings, he struck out 75 AAA batters.
Yep.
That
Yep. Yep.
that seems to me that it would cross over, and in 30 innings in the major leagues, he might struck out 40 or 43 or something like that, maybe
What it
45.
said what it says to me is if the game is 11-1, you can bring in Chase McDermott and something good is going to happen
So
sometime before you win.
that's not my bar. Is in the 11-1.
Okay,
It's
that's
if
fair.
it's 5-3 and we're up and it's the sixth inning, you could trust him with an inning without necessarily thinking he's going to blow a gasket.
I'm with you on that. I'm
Yeah.
with you on that.
All right. I want to ask you about another guy. I noticed him when I was researching Bowie, and his eyes, my eyes popped out at his numbers at Bowie. Trey McGough, 19 and two-thirds innings, 183 ERA, a 081 whip, 24 strikeouts, 6 walks, 0 home runs. Then when I was looking at Norfolk, he's up at Norfolk. He's pitched in
Yep.
2 games. He's thrown 5 1/3 innings, 169 ERA. The
Yep.
whip is 0.38, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, and again, no home runs. Is this guy a legitimate guy that could be pitching his way into, if somebody gets hurt in the Oriole bullpen,
Yeah.
is he close?
Yep. Yep. I think that that's the role that he's going to find himself in. And as he progresses, he's raising his ceiling and he's going to be on the market around the league. People started knowing who he was on the prospect scene. He won Pittsburgh's Double-A Pitcher of the Year in 2021. He needed Tommy John surgery, and they decided not to keep him. So the Orioles, they took a flyer, and since he's been in the Orioles organization, everything about his profile has gone up. He throws harder, he throws more pitches, he throws strikes at a very consistent rate, and he has a 42% strikeout rate going from double to AAA. That's near obscene. His batting average against first better competition is less than 100. So yeah, he definitely is a very, very serious exercise and fitness person. He's big. He's 6'3", over 200 pounds, and he's a lefty. So my comparison to him is Nick Vespi. Neither of them have ever had a bad streak or a bad year in their career. They both kind of get batters out the same way, disrupting timing and having them out on their front foot. So yeah, I think McGow has a real future and might luck into an actual role on a contending team. Crazy. That's really out of nowhere.
Do you like him as much as Vespi, more than Vespi, or they're the same? They're the same.
Oh, well, he throws innings, so you'd have to put him in the starter category. I don't like him as much as a starter as I like Vespi as a reliever. I really value that change of pace. So I would choose Vespi out of the pen before I put McGow in my rotation. But even talking about them on the same level represents serious progress.
He hasn't started at all this year. In 14 games, he hasn't had one start this year.
Okay. So still, I'd probably pick Vespi. I'd probably pick Vespi first out of the pen. But that's a good comparison between them.
Okay. Let's go over Beavers and Basayo. Beavers looks like he's having a real solid year at Double-A. He looks like he's leaving Judd Fabian in the dust a little bit. The power numbers are equal, but Beavers has an 875 OPS to a 745 OPS. Fabian's hitting 228. Beavers hit 282. Beavers also gets on base at a 382 percentage. He's really coming along nicely, isn't he?
Yeah, he's after Basayo. It's clear he's going to be the next Orioles centerpiece type prospect. I think what you're saying about the two outfielders is distinctly true. You can't debate it. But one way that Fabian brings it back towards even is being an outstanding 5-star athlete in center field. Makes every catch, comes in. We've talked about it at length. Comes in, goes to the wall, goes over the wall. And it's not like Beavers has really any outfield deficiencies, but Fabian is like a showtime
special
type defender. So yeah, and right. Beavers needs to get on base more, strike out less, and make more consistent contact. That's what the minor leagues are for. There's a lot of people that think he'd have already passed that threshold. Right now, he hasn't. But on the other hand, Basayo is just demolishing Double-A. It doesn't look like it in the counting stats, but he's back to playing catcher. He's back to everyday use. His average is high. He has 7 home runs. He has 4 steals. So it's not like the Double-A pitching is too advanced.
He's got 4 steals. I mean, is this a guy who projects if he's playing every day in the major leagues, he could steal 12 or 15 bases easily?
Oh, I'm going to say the frame he has when he's playing Major League Baseball.
He didn't look like a runner to me. Okay.
No.
Okay.
But for right now,
that's impressive. I mean,
I totally agree. So he's thrown out 5 base runners, 5 of 15 is 33%, and he's stolen 4. It's a pretty good ratio for catcher athleticism.
All right. You're saying in 2-3 weeks, those numbers, the 284 and the 330 on base will rise, is your prediction?
I think that's a reasonable expectation. Yeah, this is not, we're talking about a good offensive player. So yes.
All right. 2 other Double-A players, and then we'll jump back to Norfolk, okay, and talk a little bit about the big 4 up there, because I did want to get into them and we got sidetracked and I moved to Double-A. Kyle Brinovich, he's one of the guys we picked up in that Bundy trade. We talked about him about a month ago.
Really like him.
Together a reasonable season.
Yeah.
He's made 4 starts, pitched a total of 38 innings, a 3.79 ERA, a 1.11 WHIP, and he struck out 49 batters in those 38 innings. He has walked 18 batters, and he's given up 8 home runs. That's the one thing that stands out
Yep.
as a negative. But it
Yep.
seems like, and this is a guy coming back from Tommy John a couple of years ago, but it seems like he's making some progress and still a prospect.
It's a not normal or unconventional career path. He is already 26 years old.
Yep.
Yet, on the other hand, he's only thrown 170 professional innings.
Uh-huh.
So, if the procedure worked, him kind of similar to McGow, they're relatively fresh heading into their physical peak as men. So, yeah, he's kicking ass. And if you watched him on the complex the last couple of years, he's the kind of guy you root for. He's had some ups and downs. His family comes to cheer for him from the bleachers. You can hear him grunt. You can see him go hard to twist that big breaking ball. So overall, a lot of things are coming together to work for him right now. And if you watch the minor leagues, kind of like I do, he's a guy that's very, very easy to cheer for. If that breaking ball is working, he's going to have a good outing. It's that good. So let's see how that plays at the highest level against former major league hitters at AAA. If that's good, we've got another major success story from way back to that Bundy trade,
Yeah.
way back.
And and if the Orioles are seeing that and you're seeing it,
Yeah.
other teams are seeing that. So
Yeah.
he's a guy, sometimes a guy like that becomes not a throw-in, but the guy the other team says, hey, we'll give you this guy. We'll take the centerpiece, but we want Kyle Brinovich too.
If I'm an Orioles data person, I
Yeah.
am yelling at the meetings about that curveball and how it can't get away. And if we have to trade it, you better get something back. It's one of the best true hammers that I've ever seen in the minor leagues. It's a
Really?
12-6 and it spins hard. Even if you see it, you know it's coming, you know where it's going, you can't touch it. There's so few that are like that. But yeah, I agree. People are going to know who he is once his name and his game gets out.
All right.
Like Brnovich.
Real quick, Trace Bright. We saw him pitch the night of the showcase game down there when Skeens was pitching
That's
against
right.
Povich. But Bright was impressive. He's thrown 9 starts, 40 and 2/3 innings, a 3.1 ERA, 145 whip, 47 strikeouts, 18 walks, 4 home runs allowed. But you and I both like him, don't we?
Yeah. And if Brnovich doesn't have the best true 12-6, then it's Bright. I'm going to choose Kyle because I've seen it more often. I think Bright hasn't taken off and shot up the way that some people have expected him to, but he's doing fine. His
How
innings are
old is
not.
he? How old's Bright? 21, 22?
I'm going to guess Bright is 21 and will turn 22 during the second half of the season. But when I looked at his metrics or his numbers, the thing that he's doing is not allowing or not pitching to enough ground balls. They're getting more loft and more lift than they should from their contact, and especially compared with his successful debut season last year. So he needs to find a way to either finish off hitters with strikeouts, which that rate is slightly down, or get them to hit weak contact or hit it on the ground to his defenders. So far, he hasn't been doing as good a job at either of those things as last year, but his counting stats are fine, and he hasn't gotten blown out more than 1 or 2 times in any of the starts. So he's making fine progress.
4 home runs in 40 and 2/3. That's one every 10 innings. That's like a full game and then some to give
We
up
can
a
live with
home
that.
run. That's
Yeah,
nothing
we can live
wrong
with
with
that.
that. Let's move over. Actually, let me ask you what you're hearing about Seth Johnson. 31 and 2/3 innings, 9 starts. So he must be there must be parceling the innings like 3 per appearance. ERA's 3.40, the whip not great, and the
Nope.
walk strikeouts not great. 31
Nope.
strikeouts in 31 innings, 17 walks, and 4 home runs.
Yep.
But it sounds like his comeback is still a work in progress.
That's an excellent way to put it. From what I notice is his batting average on balls in play is higher than the league average and much higher than a pitcher of his style can play and expect to get outs or survive. I don't think that's why his appearances are so short. I think that's part physical and building him back. But they're hitting 320 when they make contact off a pitcher that's supposed to live either under or over the strike zone permanently. So something in those 3 inning appearances needs to change. He needs to either avoid contact, put more spin on it, or just be further away from the strike zone, which isn't always a good plan for pitchers. So we'll have to see how he changes things in the second half.
I have not seen him pitch, but it also seems like if those things don't improve, what's his fastball? 94, 95?
It is last year it was 92 to 94 and now it's 95 96. So it's
That
gotten a
get,
little faster as he's come back to health, but that's not
that gets
everything.
back to my theory about a failed starter with good stuff might make a very good relief pitcher.
Okay, like a
We'll see.
swingman type.
Yeah, well, a guy that can, in other words, that fastball stays at 96, 97 if he's only throwing 1 2/3 innings rather than trying to pace himself and throw 5 or 6 innings in
That's fair.
starts. So
That's fair.
anyway,
Right now, the main objective should be spinning it around the corners. That's what
yeah,
he needs to be good at,
all right.
better at.
Let's do a real quick spin and then we'll let you get out of here. And we'll remind you that we are brought to you by the Costas Inn since wait a minute, 1972. They've been there, 4100 North Point Boulevard. We'll tell you more about them next week on the show and on Monday when we do the other show with Ross and Luke. But the Costas Inn, one of our very fine sponsors. Let's go over the big four real quick at Norfolk. Connor Norby's having a solid season, 287, 9 homers, 33 RBIs, a 373 on base, and an 881 OPS. He's still performing well, not pouting and not getting to the majors yet.
If you took a cursory look at his stats, you would say his strikeouts are up, his batting average is down. What's going on with Connor Norby? But the things that I look at, ISO power, way up. Batting average, balls in play, way up. Slugging percentage, way up. So he is demonstrating aggression at the plate, per at bat, and over time. For a guy that hits and touches the ball as well as he does, that's exactly what you want. His development has progressed in a great line upwards. So this is a demonstration of that. He's aiming for power and extra base hits at a time in development when he should be. If Connor Norby gets to the pros and hits 270 instead of 300, but his power is way more than adequate, who cares? Who cares what his average is? It's not going to be important in determining his profile. So I'm very happy with the track he's on right now. He is doing it.
Heston Kjerstad came back, and it looks like he's still ripping the ball pretty good at the AAA level. Very disappointing, although, again, I find it almost a waste of time when they bring up these young players and they don't get to play at all.
Me
I
too.
understand you got veterans there, but I almost think it just interrupts what they're doing at the AAA level. But your thoughts on
No,
Kjerstad?
I think that's very fair. And the situation right now should be one where he plays every day, no matter what it is. But this guy's making a case to be the best overall hitter in the minor leagues. His weighted runs created plus, that's a stat you can compare to everybody on an equal plane, is 177. That's in the ridiculous range. So the distribution of his hits, his batting average against lefties, his walk to strikeout ratio, everything is
His
fine. So
OPS is 1127.
that also in the obscene
In the
range.
upper
We're getting on
stratosphere.
towards the majority of the season. The comp that I might have for him is Evan Carter last year with the Rangers. Once they brought him up again, he broke out and he played at a consistent level that
And he was a
year that he
star
didn't
last
before.
year, and this year he's not cutting it this year.
So we want 2023 Evan Carter in 2024 Heston Kjerstad. I'd
Yeah,
settle for that.
yeah. Kjerstad, let's move on from him. Let's take a look at Jackson Holiday. The
Yep.
numbers are good. They're not spectacular. It looks to me like he's still suffering a little spinning of the head right now. Is that the way you see it? And are you optimistic that when mid-June rolls around, he's going to get cooking?
I think the best overall sign for what's happening with Holiday right now is this is a slump for him. This is how he is when he slumps. He bats 270 and his walk and strikeout ratios are equal when he slumps. I think that's the best takeaway from this. He's so good he can't be bad.
Right.
So that's one way to look at it. Another way is looking at where the ball goes when he drives it. He should be hitting opposite field a significant percentage more than he is, and he should be lifting the ball off the ground with much more adequate line drive and fly ball rates. Right now, pull side is winning, and right now, ground ball is winning. So when the Orioles asked him to hit it harder, he did that. And when he did that, they called him up. So they're probably asking him, put some backspin on that ball and hit it to the wall if you don't mind. And I have a feeling because he's so good, he's going to master that by, like you said, a matter of weeks. So yeah, he should be cooking by June, according to your phrasing.
All right.
He should be hot again.
Final question. You were pretty optimistic about Kobe Mayo not being out for a long time. You said
Yeah.
that he was already feeling much better a
Yep.
week ago. What are you
Yep.
hearing on the Kobe Mayo front?
He still has to get an X-ray on Friday, which is the team mandated window for when they want to reevaluate him. I'm estimating if he was low on the pain threshold last week, he's going to be even lower now, maybe zero pain. So hopefully he's a fast healer and will prove it on his exam tomorrow. He'll ace it, get an A, maybe one FCL game just to see 10 pitches from another person and then right back up to his
And
affiliate
he
where he
wants to
belongs.
come back down to say hello to you, doesn't he?
He hasn't yet, so that's an indication of no,
He's
but
down
maybe
there
if
though,
I'm at
right?
the game, he can't avoid me.
Is he down there?
He is in Sarasota right now. I
All right.
haven't seen him like I saw Anoris Rodriguez in the bullpen. He hasn't come to a game yet, but we have one tomorrow and one Saturday.
All right. Eric, many thanks. We'll catch up next Thursday, okay? Want to
Absolutely.
thank
Look forward
you
to
can
it.
sign off when you have to. We
All
want
right.
to thank our friends at Atman's, the classic New York deli experience now at Baltimore's Harbor Point. That's Atman's at Harbor Point. We're also brought to you by our friends AJ Michaels. Turn to the experts, AJ Michaels and Carrier at ajmichaels.com, and also by the Costas Inn. For Eric Garfield, I'm Stan the Fan Charles, and I'll see you Monday with Luke Jackson and Ross Grimsley. Bye for now.